Here's a surprising fact. Every year in the US, nearly 48 million people suffer from food-related illnesses, and sadly, over 3,000 lives are lost. A large portion of those affected are older adults, often because our immune systems gradually weaken as we age, making it harder to fight off infections. Now, here's what might catch you off guard. Your refrigerator, yes, the one you trust to keep everything fresh and safe, might actually be making some foods less safe, not more. In fact, certain items that we instinctively pop into the fridge can actually lose nutritional value, develop unpleasant flavors, or worse, become breeding grounds for bacteria and toxins. Many of us are unknowingly storing foods in ways that can harm our health, especially if we're older and more sensitive to digestive changes. And the worst part? These mistakes are incredibly common, so today we're counting down 9 foods you should never refrigerate, especially if you're a senior aiming to stay sharp, energized, and well-nourished. Some items on this list may surprise you. One in particular becomes nutritionally worthless and chemically unstable when chilled. But don't worry, we'll also give you safer, smarter alternatives for how to store each food properly. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's make your kitchen a safer, healthier place. And if you're watching right now, drop a comment below telling us where you're from. We love connecting with our community. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy these helpful health tips made with you in mind. Let's jump into it. Number 9. Potatoes. Let's start with something nearly all of us keep around: potatoes. You might think the fridge is the perfect place for them. Cool and dark, right? But storing raw potatoes in cold temperatures can actually alter their chemistry in an unhealthy way. Here's what happens. Cold conditions cause the starches in potatoes to convert into sugars faster than normal. When those sugary potatoes are cooked, especially by baking or frying, a chemical reaction occurs. The sugars and natural amino acids combine to form acrylamide, a substance that scientists are studying closely because of its potential link to cancer. Aside from the chemical changes, chilled potatoes lose their familiar texture. They can turn gritty, overly soft, or even develop an odd sweetness. That's a sign they've oxidized or begun to break down, along with some of their nutrients. So what's the best storage method? Keep your potatoes in a cool, dry spot away from light, like a pantry shelf or a cupboard. Avoid plastic bags that trap moisture and encourage spoilage. Instead, go for mesh or paper bags that let the air circulate. If you've been storing your spuds in the fridge, it's time to make a change. Your body and your taste buds will thank you. Number 8. Bread. Now let's talk about one of life's simplest pleasures: bread. Whether it's whole wheat, rye, or classic white, many people pop their bread into the fridge to keep it fresh. But here's the truth. Refrigerating bread actually makes it go stale faster. This happens because of a process called starch crystallization. Basically, when bread gets cold, the starch molecules start to reorganize in a way that pushes moisture out. It doesn't take days or weeks. It starts almost right away. The result? Your bread dries out, loses its soft texture, and starts to feel crumbly and dense. And while you might not see a big difference the first day, over time, refrigerated bread becomes tough and unpleasant, especially if you're planning to make sandwiches or toast. Even worse, once you bring that chilled loaf back to room temperature, it becomes the perfect environment for mold growth. The uneven moisture and temperature changes can cause mold to grow more quickly, especially if you keep opening and closing the bag. Some molds produce mycotoxins, which can cause real problems for seniors with sensitive immune systems or digestive issues. So while you might think you're preserving your bread, you could actually be risking your health. What's a better option? Store your bread at room temperature in a sealed container or bread box, and only keep out what you'll eat in a few days. For long-term storage, slice your loaf and place it in the freezer, not the fridge. When frozen, bread retains its quality, and you can defrost slices as needed without worry. So next time you reach for that refrigerator shelf, remember, keep your loaf happy at room temp. Number 7. Onions. Next up, onions. An essential in so many kitchens, but often misunderstood when it comes to storage. Onions might seem like they'd benefit from being chilled, especially since they're pungent and can make your kitchen smell. But here's the deal. Putting whole onions in the fridge is a mistake. Why? because onions are designed to be stored in dry, ventilated conditions, not cold, damp environments. When exposed to the moisture in your refrigerator, onions can quickly start to absorb that humidity, leading to soft, slimy texture and mold growth. They'll also begin to lose their flavor and firmness. Plus, there's the issue of odor spread. Onions release sulfur compounds which can be absorbed by other foods in your fridge, especially butter, fruit, or dairy products. That means your strawberries might start tasting a little oniony. Not ideal. Cut onions are the exception. If you've sliced one, make sure it's sealed tightly and used within a day or two. But whole onions? Keep them in a basket or mesh bag in a cool, dark cabinet. Proper storage means fresher onions, better tasting meals, and a cleaner smelling fridge. Number 6. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the most commonly misunderstood foods when it comes to refrigeration. A lot of people assume that cold storage will keep them fresher longer, but in reality, refrigerating tomatoes is one of the quickest ways to ruin both their flavor and texture. Here's why. Tomatoes are naturally warm weather fruits. Their internal enzymes are designed to function in moderate temperatures. When placed in the cold environment of your refrigerator, those enzymes stop working properly. This halts the ripening process, which is where tomatoes develop much of their vibrant taste and aroma. What you're left with is a bland, watery tomato that's mealy on the inside and disappointing on the outside. That juicy, slightly firm bite you expect? Gone. Even worse, the refrigerator causes the skin to wrinkle, making the tomato look older than it actually is. But the damage doesn't stop at taste and appearance. Cold temperatures can also reduce the levels of vitamin C and other antioxidants that tomatoes are known for. These nutrients are especially important for older adults as they support immune health and protect cells from age-related stress. So what's the best way to store tomatoes? Keep them at room temperature, away from direct sunlight, and place them stem side down. This slows moisture loss and helps preserve freshness. If they're getting overripe, it's better to use them in cooking or sauces rather than tossing them in the fridge. Bottom line, the fridge might be good for leftovers, but your tomatoes deserve better. Number 5. Garlic. Garlic is a powerhouse ingredient. It boosts flavor, supports immune function, and contains natural compounds like allicin that help lower blood pressure and fight inflammation. But all of those benefits can be compromised if you store garlic the wrong way. Whole garlic bulbs are meant to be kept in dry, cool, and well-ventilated spaces. That's because their papery outer skin acts like natural packaging, protecting the cloves from moisture and spoilage. However, when you place garlic in the fridge, that protection is overwhelmed by humidity. What happens next? The cloves often begin to sprout prematurely, leading to bitter-tasting, rubbery garlic that lacks its usual sharpness. Sprouted garlic also contains less allicin, which means fewer health benefits overall. But here's the real concern. Storing chopped garlic in oil and refrigerating it without proper safeguards can promote the growth of Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria responsible for botulism. This is a rare but very serious illness that can cause paralysis or even death. To stay safe, store whole garlic bulbs in a mesh bag or basket in a dark pantry. If you need to store chopped garlic, use vinegar or lemon juice as a base and keep it refrigerated only briefly. Handled right, garlic remains one of nature's most powerful and tasty tools for health. Number 4. Coffee. If you're a coffee lover, and let's face it, most of us are, you might be tempted to store your beans or grounds in the fridge to keep them fresh. But believe it or not, that's one of the worst places you can put them. Here's why. Coffee is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture and smells from the air around it, just like a sponge. When stored in the refrigerator, it's surrounded by all kinds of aromas: onions, cheese, leftover soup, and coffee picks all of them up. The result? Your favorite morning brew might end up tasting strangely sour, dull, or even downright funky. But it's not just the scent you need to worry about. Cold environments introduce condensation, especially when the fridge door is opened and closed frequently. That moisture clings to your coffee, causing it to clump and go stale faster. It also breaks down the delicate oils in the beans, oils that are essential to flavor and aroma, and which contain antioxidants like chlorogenic acids that support heart and brain health. In older adults, these antioxidants can help protect against oxidative stress, a factor in aging and inflammation. So, losing them means losing more than just flavor. It's a hit to your health. So how should you store your coffee? Keep it in an airtight, opaque container in a dark, dry cupboard. Avoid clear jars or plastic containers, which let in light and air. And whatever you do, don't store coffee in the fridge or freezer unless it's unopened and vacuum sealed. This simple switch will help your coffee taste better and keep its potential health benefits intact. Number 3, honey. Next up is honey, a natural sweetener that many people assume can go anywhere, including the fridge. But storing honey in cold temperatures is a sure way to ruin its smooth texture and natural properties. Honey is one of the few foods on Earth that doesn't spoil under normal conditions. That's because it has very low moisture content and is naturally acidic, which makes it nearly impossible for bacteria and mold to grow. But when you refrigerate it, honey begins to crystallize. It turns gritty, cloudy, and sometimes nearly solid, making it tough to scoop or spread. While crystallization doesn't make honey unsafe, it does affect texture and can introduce moisture when the container is repeatedly opened. That moisture can actually encourage fermentation, leading to off smells, sour tastes, and in rare cases, spoilage. Plus, cold temperatures can reduce the potency of honey's enzymes, the very things that give it natural antibacterial properties. To keep your honey smooth, safe, and full of goodness, store it in a tightly sealed jar at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. No need to refrigerate it, ever. Sweet, simple, and shelf-stable when handled right. Number 2. Bananas. Bananas are a go-to snack for many older adults, easy to digest, full of potassium, and naturally sweet. But if you're tossing bananas into the fridge to make them last longer, you may want to rethink that habit. Bananas come from tropical climates, and their internal chemistry just isn't built to handle the cold. When bananas are refrigerated before they're fully ripe, their natural ripening enzymes shut down. The process slows so drastically that the fruit often fails to ripen properly, leaving it bland, firm, and unsatisfying. Worse yet, the skin begins to turn an unappealing grayish-black color, a sure sign of cold damage. Under that dark skin, the fruit may look patchy, mushy, or even taste a bit metallic. These aren't just cosmetic issues, they're indicators that the banana's nutrients and structure have started to break down. In fact, refrigeration can reduce levels of dopamine and catechins, natural antioxidants found in bananas that support brain health and help reduce inflammation in aging cells. These compounds are especially valuable for older adults, as they assist in protecting the nervous system and keeping oxidative stress in check. There's another risk if you refrigerate overripe bananas. The moisture trapped between the peel and fruit can create a prime environment for mold, particularly around the stem. Instead of making your bananas last longer, the fridge may be speeding up their spoilage. So what's the best strategy? Keep bananas at room temperature, ideally in a fruit bowl with good airflow. If they're ripening too quickly and you're not ready to eat them, peel and freeze them for smoothies or baking. They'll hold up much better in the freezer than in the fridge. In short, if you want your bananas to stay nutritious and delicious, let them breathe, no chilly shelves required. Number 1, olive oil. And finally, we arrive at the number 1 food that should never go in the fridge, olive oil. For many seniors, olive oil is a staple. It's heart-healthy, full of good fats, and a key ingredient in Mediterranean-style diets that support longevity. But despite its reputation as a pantry hero, some folks refrigerate olive oil, thinking it'll stay fresh longer. That cold storage, however, can backfire in multiple ways. When olive oil is exposed to refrigeration, it starts to solidify, forming cloudy clumps or even turning thick and waxy. While this change isn't harmful by itself, it's a sign that the oil is undergoing stress, especially when moved back and forth from cold to room temperatures. These temperature shifts can damage the chemical structure of olive oil, triggering early oxidation. That process reduces the oil's antioxidant levels and may even create compounds that encourage inflammation, the very thing olive oil is supposed to help reduce. Picking up where we left off, storing olive oil in the refrigerator may seem harmless, but the repeated temperature swings from fridge to room temp can take a serious toll. Every time the oil warms up after being cold, it undergoes subtle chemical stress. This stress can accelerate oxidation, which not only dulls the flavor but also strips away its key health benefits. For older adults, this is especially important. Olive oil is rich in compounds like polyphenols and oleocanthal, which have anti-inflammatory effects and support heart health, two things that are crucial for healthy aging. When those beneficial elements begin to degrade, you're not just losing flavor, you're missing out on some of the reasons you chose olive oil in the first place. There's another practical concern too. Chilled olive oil becomes thick and difficult to pour. This can lead to spills, wasted oil, or even unintentional overuse, which adds unnecessary calories. Plus, solidified oil may not mix well in dressings or cooking, affecting the texture of your meals. The best way to store olive oil? Keep it in a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container, away from heat and light, like in a cabinet or pantry, far from the stove or sunny windows. With the right storage, good quality olive oil can stay fresh and flavorful for up to 2 years. In summary, skip the fridge and let your olive oil stay cool, not cold. Final kitchen tips. Store smarter, live healthier. Now that we've covered the top 9 foods you should never refrigerate, let's bring it all together with a few smart storage reminders. Tropical fruits like bananas, avocados, and even mangoes prefer room temperatures until they ripen. The cold stops their flavor from developing. Root vegetables such as potatoes and onions should be stored in a cool, dark place, not cold and moist environments like your fridge. Bakery bread belongs on the counter or in the freezer, not the refrigerator. For long-term storage, slice and freeze. Garlic and tomatoes should be kept dry and room temp. Store garlic whole and unpeeled. Tomatoes should be stem side down on the counter. Coffee and honey need airtight containers in dark cabinets. No fridge needed, just consistency in temperature and protection from moisture. Making small changes to how you store these foods can have a big impact, not just on your grocery budget or cooking results, but on your long-term health and well-being. Especially for seniors, proper food storage supports digestion, energy levels, and immune strength. So take a fresh look at your kitchen habits, and don't be afraid to reorganize. A smarter setup today could mean better meals and better health tomorrow. You've now learned about 9 common foods that don't belong in the refrigerator, and hopefully, you're already thinking about which ones you'll move out today. Let's take a moment to recap what we've covered so it all sticks. Potatoes. Cold temperatures turn their starch into sugar, which can create harmful compounds during cooking. Keep them in a cool, dark place. Bread. The fridge makes it go stale faster. Store it in a bread box or freeze it in slices for later use. Onions. Humid fridges cause them to rot and spread their smell to everything else. Keep whole onions in a dry, airy spot. Tomatoes. The cold kills their flavor and turns their texture mealy. Let them ripen naturally on your counter. Garlic. Moisture leads to early sprouting and bitter taste. Even worse, garlic stored improperly in oil can become a health hazard. Coffee. It absorbs moisture and odors from the fridge. Use an airtight container in a dark cabinet to preserve flavor and health perks. Honey. Cold temps cause it to crystallize and lose its natural antibacterial benefits. Room temp in a sealed jar is best. Bananas. The cold shuts down ripening and dulls their nutrients. Let them ripen on the counter and freeze the extras. Olive oil. Refrigeration damages its healthy fats and antioxidants. Store it in a dark bottle away from heat and light. Making even a few of these changes can dramatically improve the taste of your food, the safety of your meals, and even help you hold on to the health benefits many of these foods offer. For older adults especially, digestion, immunity, and energy are all influenced by how food is stored and prepared. So don't underestimate the power of a well-organized kitchen. It's not just about keeping your food fresh, it's about keeping yourself well. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Were there any items on this list that surprised you? Have you been refrigerating something you shouldn't? What food storage habits are you planning to change? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's turn this into a conversation, because when we learn together, we all benefit. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more senior-friendly health tips, kitchen advice, and wellness inspiration. Your support helps us create more content that truly makes a difference. Thanks so much for watching, and here's to smarter storage, tastier meals, and healthier days ahead. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.